Your most famous 1-2 finish with Richard was the 76 Daytona 500, and I do want to talk about that one in just a second. But there was a race at Daytona a couple years before that, the 74 Firecracker 400, that's pretty famous, where you took the white flag and kind of lifted or let him by. What do you remember about that race?
Well, he had me beat if I didn't do something. You know, I knew I had to do something because I always accused him running no big engine anyway. You know, he has done that quite a few times, I found out. But he had me beat if. And I said, well, if he'd have went on, ain't no. Only way I could beat him is trap by him, you know. Yeah. And I knew that. I knew that I had to get me a running start and go by him that way because I couldn't just follow him and go by him. And during that race, we was going to different things and trying different things, and I'd slow up every once in a while and see what he would do and see when he could pass me, and I could see when I was the fastest at different points, and he had me beat, and no doubt about it. And I said, well, I don't know what I can do. I'm gonna run second. If it comes down between me and him, I said, I'm gonna run second, one way or another. There ain't no way I can beat him. And I said, I got to do something to some way or another to try to make him and get in front of me, you know. And so he wouldn't do it. I'd slow up, and he would not pass me. He'd stay right back there behind me, you know, and he would not try to pass. So when I was coming by, and right when I got to the white flag, I throwed my hand up and just cut down to the inside like I was out of gas or something. He shot right by me on the outside, and I said, So just quick as I seen him pull out to go by me, I got back on the throttle.
Yeah.
And it just ended up just right that I just and I think that he thought something was wrong anyway because I was far enough back then. When going in one, he probably backed off, you know, a little bit. And going down the back stretch, I was really drafting. That old Mercury would draft real good. If it just smelled another car in front of it, it would really, you know, break the wind and go on. But it was a big old square front end on it. It would really break a lot of wind. And as long as the car in front of it, I could really draft and pick up a lot of speed. So I caught him down, going down the back stretch there, up close to him, and coming off a 4, I caught him enough that I just ducked right down and went by him, started by him, and he run me down on the apron then when he done that. And I beat him, and after the race, he said that was a dangerous move I pulled. It wasn't half as dangerous as he was running me down on the apron, you know, as far as that goes. But anyway, he got ticked off about it, but I'd found out that before that, he said that there was no way I was going to beat him that day because I think of the last 2 July races before, I'd pulled something on him somewhere or another and beat him. Yeah. And he said this is one time that he wasn't going to outsmart me or do nothing, pull no trick on me, that he was going to get me that day. Yeah, he talked pretty confidence in it, is what somebody told me, so he undoubtedly had a big engine that day. But he was good.
Let's talk about the 1976 Daytona 500.
Richard and myself, we tangled up, you know, and we both spun around, and Richard's car stalled with him, and I kept mine running. And by the time I got turned around and went back and got on the racetrack and got to the checkered flag, I was running about 20 or 30 miles an hour. And another thing happened there, I was in the infield, in the grass part, right in the pit road there. And some of them people said that Joe Frazon come down the pit road and hit the front end of my car and turned it around towards the start and finish line and went on. But that's not true.
Yeah.
You know, now Joe Frazon did come down through there and just snibbed the front end of my car, but my car would not turn to the right. If they look at the film, I backed up and turned around and made a circle to the left and went out on the racetrack that way. But of course, Joe is known to try to get in a wreck and everything else, you know, anyway, but he didn't help me win it, that's for sure.
I've never really heard you and Richard criticize each other about the end of that race.
No, we was just racing, you know, no doubt about it.
Is there anything that either one of you could have done to avoid that accident?
Oh, yeah. I could have backed off. But that ain't racing, you know.
No.
He wasn't in front of me, and he acted like he thought he was. So what he was doing, he just kept coming up, you know, and he was coming up to cut me off, so I couldn't, you know, back then, or time before that, it was, we could draft and pass somebody coming off 4 and beat them to the start and finish line. And I always accused him. He knew if he got in front of me, there's no way I could get back by him by the time I got out. I was coming off 4, see? And so he kept coming up and coming up. His right rear hit my left front. And, yeah, I could have backed off.
Yeah.
And I figured that he'd just come over and hit me, then that would be, he stopped. But he come up too far, and, of course, that got us both spinning around. And and I kept mine running, and he didn't.